Hey there, welcome to the table, the virtual table. Sorry I've been gone for such a long time. I had spring break with my kids. I had seasonal illnesses, all the above. In fact, I still have a lingering cough, and I apologize if that is, it might happen a few times while I'm chatting here. Frosthaven is still on my table, but I did find a group to play the game with, so I'm likely going to be discontinuing my solo campaign. I just absolutely value playing that game with other people way more than playing it solo. Um, we have an oldie but a goodie here. I am turning the music down a little bit. In fact, I don't even know if let's uh, let's turn the music down all the way because there might be some copyright issues potentially. So, this is an oldie but a absolutely fantastic goodie. It's called Empire Total War. It is by far my favorite game. Um, I'm not going to say all time because Imperialism 2 is my favorite game of all time. Master of Orion being up there, Europa Universalis being extremely far up there. This is in the same tier, though, for me. Of all the Total War games, this is my absolute favorite. I do have the Warhammer 3 Total War, which is excellent. I do not have any complaints with it, other than I really like the historical theme of this. And there's also the way this handles economy. This game shows its age in a few spots, and the diplomacy is a little frustrating. In fact, basically, this game is everybody declares war on you, and you're at war against the entire world. Eventually. But with that being said, this is a fantastic game, and let's get into it. So, couple of things. There is Road to Independence, where you play as the fledgling in the United States, and you basically get to your independence. If you do complete this and get all the way to the end, then it allows you to play the Grand Campaign as the United States. Because you might be wondering, like, how can I play the Grand Campaign as the United States? That is how you do it. But every time I get a new computer and have a fresh copy of Steam installed, and I reinstall the game, of course I lose all my whatever the triggers are to put that in. So you have to do this campaign, all four of them, to completion to unlock it again and again and again. And as you can see, I don't even bother because playing the United States is not something I particularly want to do in this, at least in this game. There's also the Warpath campaign, which allows you to play as the Native Americans. Um, I don't know what to say about it. I think there's I don't know, just society in general always wants to try to rewrite history or to redo history or something. I honestly think that this campaign system is dumb. I think playing as the natives is dumb. But if you're one of those people who doesn't find it dumb, then by all means enjoy it. I don't think that they stand a chance against modern Europeans, just like in real life. However, they always did outnumber the Europeans. I mean, they made a big impact in the French and Indian War, which is the time frame that this occurs. I just don't find it to be very fun. Now, the reason I don't find it to be fun is because the variety of units is just minimal. I mean, the Native Americans don't have a large group of units. But anyways, I know that was a very opinionated segment there, but it just, it's there, it's an option. That's all I'm trying to say. Now, the Grand Campaign is where it's at, and this is what I'm talking about where you do have the issue of the AI constantly declaring war on you. Even sometimes people that you consider to be an ally will eventually declare war on you. You can choose to do different types of campaigns. The short campaign is not very short. I think relatively speaking it's short, but basically you have to capture and hold 25 regions by the end of the year, 1750, and then they have specific regions listed. Sometimes it's hard because those specific regions require you to declare war on very specific people, and also sometimes your ally will end up taking those regions, And the victory conditions are strict, meaning that you now have to declare war on your ally if you want to meet the victory condition. So one of the ways you can get around that is just to do prestige victory, but you can still see they list certain things. And so then it's like, okay, well then how about the world domination? There you go. Here you just need to have 50 regions by the end of a particular year, and they don't list anything specific at all. So that's my recommendation: is you do world domination. 50 is not so bad, and it goes to 1799 instead of I think 1750, which is also not so bad. All the other ones go to 1799, by the way. You can change the campaign and battle difficulty. That's dealer's choice. Um, I've played this enough that I could probably put both of them on max and do okay. But I'm sure that some of the things I do won't be as easy, which is the whole point of increasing the difficulty. Um, okay, now which country do you play? By far and away, this is Great Britain's time. So it's their time to shine. They are the best country to play. I know people are going to have whatever argument they want to have. Great Britain is, historically they're the ones that started to really rise during this time frame. Obviously, this is right at the beginning of the French and Indian War era, the 7 Years' War, which will definitely happen. It's almost a guarantee that France will declare war on you. It's also pretty much a guarantee that Spain will declare war on you at some point along the way. And then the Iroquois will declare war on you. And sometimes it's not that they declare war on you, they declare war on the 13 colonies, which you are a protectorate of, and then that sucks you into the war. So, and like I said, by the end, I mean, Sweden will declare war on you, Denmark will declare, like, everybody declares war on you before it's all over. So, just one last thing about England. Why else do I recommend England? Well, I mean, being on an it's almost like Europa Universalis, where being on the islands helps because a naval invasion is pretty easy to avoid versus a land invasion. That's number one, and then number two, they are really well poised to claim all the trade nodes. There are trade nodes in this game, and they are a vast source of wealth. And England is very well poised to grab those trade nodes more than anybody else. Like, you can literally, I think, grab all but maybe 2 trade nodes if you play as England. Holland is guaranteed 1, and Portugal is guaranteed 1. And you can grab every single other one if you play as England. And I think that's what we're going to do for this playthrough. But I want to briefly talk about a few other ones. France. Very fun to play. A little chaotic, because, like I said, everybody declares war on you. The AI just loves to declare war on you, especially if you start to have any semblance of doing decent. France has a wonderful economy. They have wonderful, actually, locations, and then most of Quebec. The primary land they have in Europe, the primary home territory, is so rich. It makes so much money. You don't necessarily need the trade nodes as much, but France does have the ability to grab some decent trade nodes. I think with France you have the ability to do everything, but you sort of have to prioritize. But very fun to play. The biggest reason I don't play France very often is there's a follow-up game to this called Napoleon Total War. And if you really like playing as France, you would just go buy that game, which I have, by the way, and then play as Napoleon over there. Because it's basically the same engine as this, a little bit upgraded, and it has a lot of the same game mechanics that you see here. But it's heavily focused on France, and of course when you play Napoleon Total War, you get to be France. It's slightly further along in the time frame, but I don't know. If I have the itch to play France, I just load up Napoleon Total War. Next, and yes, I am going through all the countries. Austria is a very landlocked state. You're definitely not going to grab any trade nodes. Austria is very challenging, just because of the whole everybody declares war on you perspective, but there is a lot of opportunity to grow. And amazingly enough, all their territories generate great income that you don't need those trade nodes as much. And it's a good time. It's really hard to get to 40 regions, but it's not impossible. You just have to stay focused. The problem with Austria is you can see they're in the middle of Europe. And so all four directions, north, south, east, and west, somebody is going to declare war on them. And you basically have to maintain multiple armies to defend your territory. And then you need another army to attack. And it's actually really hard to balance that sometimes because you have your economy you need to pay your armies too. So that's the thing with Austria. No complaints about this. Very well implemented. It's a completely different gameplay style than France or England. The Netherlands is number 2 for trade nodes. In fact, they start the game with a guaranteed trade node, and they are also, you could, with the United Provinces, gather all the trade nodes just like England. So you could go out and snatch all of them, but the one that Portugal has. In fact, you'll have one more than England with this. Now, why did I recommend England more? Well, because England has more of everything else. United Provinces has a tiny little province here in Europe. It doesn't generate a lot of income. This province here is valuable and generates decent income. And then, of course, this is the most valuable over here in India. It's also an ability to, you could generate trade ships that get you to the East Indies really quick. I have no complaints about the United Provinces. It's like England, except you're not as protected. You definitely have to worry about your home territory. People will declare war on you, and you don't have the ocean or the sea to protect you like you do with England. So very fun country to play as well. Spain is almost the same as France. They're very segmented, though. They have territories everywhere. It's really hard to be aggressive as Spain. You're spending most of the game defending yourself. The Cuba Havana area here is super valuable, and New Spain has almost all this area. They're like your protectorate, just like the 13 colonies was for England. If you can get them to join you and get all this territory to become yours, Spain can get very lucrative. The challenges with Spain is you're going to spend a very large portion of the early game just defending the territory you already have. You're segmented everywhere. It's really hard to do. Like the part up by the Netherlands and then the Italy parts, I mean, in some ways you may want to get creative and try to trade away like certain parts to get territory elsewhere. But Spain, no complaints about them. They're just like France. In terms of you can go grab some of these trade nodes. You'll do a decent job. Prussia is just like Austria, the exact same problem. They have a lot less territory, so therefore they make a lot less money. They don't have to necessarily worry about being attacked from the north, although Sweden will, they'll attack them from the sides. The thing with Prussia is their military is very powerful. So you start with some excellent generals. It's a fun play. Poland, Lithuania, I actually never play them much. They have all the same problems Austria has with being attacked in all directions. And they do start off with some decent territory. As you can tell, a lot of these are similar to each other. So really you're going to just pick whichever one is thematically more interesting. The Ottomans start off hugely powerful. That's just it. They're very powerful. So you start the game powerful and you're just going to continue being powerful. And you play as them. Don't expect to take a lot of trade nodes, but with all the territory they have, you don't need them. You will be at war all the time with the Ottomans. Russia, you start off with a ton of territory, but it's very underdeveloped. You do have to spend a significant amount of time investing to get it to grow, but it grows, obviously, sky's the limit with them. The biggest thing with Russia is you're going to deal with Georgia and Dagestan declaring war on you right away, which is down here. And then you're going to have the Ottomans. You start the game at war with the Ottomans, so they're going to be attacking you over here. And then there's a couple other neutrals that are going to declare war. And then if that's not enough, Poland will declare war on you, and so will Sweden at some point. Um, so the problem with Russia is you have to do a lot of investment and at the same time maintain your armies. There is basically you're playing defense, but you need to grab ports, so there is a little bit of offense as well. And anyways, it's a fun play, but it can be frustrating because you're gonna not have enough money to do everything you want to do. Sweden is excellent. Um, you basically Norway's not that much of a challenge. Your biggest challenge is Russia to the east, and basically you can do whatever you need to do, and it's it's a nice way to basically start in a corner of the map and expand out. Um, they aren't super powerful at the very beginning, but they have the potential to be. Then, of course, the Maratha Confederacy. You could basically play an India game, which is pretty cool. The Mughals are in control of most of India, so you got to be careful with your expansion. But it's a really nice way to play as just something completely different. All right, I spent way too much time going through all of them. We'll do England because I know that one best, and let's go ahead and get started.
Your first priorities as an island nation should be to ensure you have adequate naval defenses in place, as a strong navy is the key to protecting your shores. Beyond that, maintain friendly relations with other Protestant nations, such as the United Provinces, Hanover, Prussia, and Sweden, as the ever-present threats from Catholic France and Spain may require a joint action by allies in the near future. In addition to securing your position at home, look to the preservation of your colonies in America and the Caribbean. France and Spain are always interested in expanding their overseas territories, and your colonists will provide easy pickings for less scrupulous nations if left unprotected. There is also much unexploited territory in the Indian subcontinent. Gain a foothold here before your rivals do. The once mighty Mughal Empire is on the verge of falling apart, but it is still important to move swiftly. The up-and-coming Maratha Confederacy is ready to pounce and forge an empire of their own, so allying with them against the Mughals could be a useful strategy. It is especially vital to act in India before the French gain a foothold and begin to work against you as they have in America.
Okay, so that advisor will chime in from time to time, and oh, I have her set to none, so we won't hear from her too much more now. Um, so this is a 15-year-old game, and it looks sweet for 15 years old. I mean, obviously, you can see there's pixelation in the stuff here, and yeah, this would look tremendously better in today's era, but I really love it. Now, why do I like this more than Warhammer 3? Well, I do like the historical aspects to it, where you're playing on a real Earth. I mean, I know that Bretonia is the alleged England, in France, and then the Empire, Karl Franz is the Austria, HRE. I mean, I get all that, but it's just more fun. But the part I like about this is in the modern Warhammer Total War, when you click on a city, everything is here. So all the buildings you can build is here, and then there's obviously a lot of choices, right? You have so many slots for buildings, and then you get to choose which type of building you're going to build in which slot. With this game, the actual terrain has stuff. So like there's a craft workshop here in York, England, because England is not just London, right? It's a whole bunch of cities. So rather than just having smaller towns that are represented by, nebulous, hey, you can build whatever building you'd like here, and they can only go up to level 3. There's all these opportunities to build things throughout the map. So there's, for example, in Devon, there's farmland, and in Lincolnshire, more farmland, etc., etc. And you can even see there's this port here that is a developing village. Liverpool is not quite a town yet, but it's going to be a town someday, or it could be. And here's another one in Manchester. And here's another one over here, Newcastle. So when you click on London, England, and click this bar, you can see that the next town that's developing is Liverpool in 27 turns. So 27 turns, Liverpool will become a town, and I'll be able to build one of these building types that you see here. It's going to be, Liverpool's a harbor type of town, so I'll be able to build a type of harbor, and that's what makes this game awesome compared to the modern Total War. Like, I really love this style of economy, if you will. It's more involved than the Warhammer Total War, and but I love the graphics of Warhammer Total War. I like so many things that Warhammer Total War does, but the reason I come back to this one is I just love the way the economy works. All right, so a couple of things. There's a lot to these games. There's it's not as bad as Europa Universalis, but let's go through some things real quick. Clearly, each town, which is represented by this, not these types of towns, but these are actual cities. You will have different sets of buildings, and these are different building types. So this is your barracks, this is your parliament, basically civic stuff, your admiralty, and your cannon foundry. And then if you go to Scotland, you can see they got a similar thing, but they have one less. I don't think they have the admiralty. And then if we go over to Ireland, there's only two. So the different types of towns will have different levels of growth, if you will. I don't know if I did a great job of explaining it, but basically England has got everything. Scotland has everything but the Admiralty, and then Ireland has just the little government building, and that's it. It's that way everywhere. So like Paris is a big metropolis, so is Amsterdam, but this Brussels Flanders is going to be a teeny little, whatever. Next thing, there are tabs. So if I pick on this, I have construction of buildings, I have recruitment of troops, and then this will grow and change based on my technology and what kind of troops I'm allowed to build. My infrastructure is roads, and then of course what standing army do I have in the area. So for the infrastructure, you could right click on anything. It'll tell you exactly what it does, along with some flavor text. So the roads give +3 per town to their wealth, and improves their campaign map movement speed. So that's how quickly my troops are going to move. So see how I selected this guy? Everywhere that's green is where he can move. So within England, which here's the border between England and Scotland. So England for me is this massive chunk of land. So it's all of England. It is one big province. And within that province, I have to move around, and you can see I can't even get to Scotland if I wanted to, but I'd get pretty close. And then, of course, throughout this province, you have all these different industries that are popping up in these various cities, and that is a key thing to understand. Like in terms of, all these things generate income for the city of London, if you will. Now, York, England has a craft workshop. They're generating 450 region wealth, and they give me 7 per turn. All right, so you might be thinking, well, is that all you could do? Actually, the answer is no. So I can go to my building browser, and for the province of England, I can find the craft workshop in York. I'm going to click on it, and you can see that right now it's this building, but I could burn the building down or dismantle it, and I can actually instead build a coaching inn, a school, or a church school. So this is considered an industry building, and these are more civic buildings, but I could switch it if I wanted. And then over here is Cambridge, so I happen to have a church school. And if I come up here, I click on that. I could actually turn that into a craft workshop, a weaver. So same kind of deal. Now, not all of them are weavers, by the way. If you come over here, this is a smith. So let's look at this one. So, I must have passed it up. Like there's an iron mine, right? That's all you can build there. Why am I not seeing the smith? Got plantations, which again is just one type of building. Here it is, craft workshop smith. So you can see that also can become the civic buildings. So it's only one type of industry per town, if you will. Okay, I know we could get into a lot of detail there, but still going over high level. If I click on a town, I talked about the basic tabs. Now let's talk about, like, if I just click here where it says London, England, it opens up like a detailed tab. Now, this is a very important tab to understand. First things first, these are your upper class citizens, and then your middle lower class, and then these are all the factors that contribute to appeasing them, making them happy. These are all the factors that make them want to rebel against you. And so you can see it's a little close, but I have them under control. That's the reason why you see a 1 there. So I have 1 more control than I have not control. And then I have 7 control over the lower class, the middle class. So that's really all this is. And then each of these symbols is just representing different types of things that are contributing to the control. Now, down here, I am making $6,700. And the wealth is coming from these different sources. And you can see some of this is from my farming. Some of it is from industry, which is those craftsmen I was showing you. Some of it is through mining, which I was also just showing you. And then some of it's through trade. And also the towns themselves are generating wealth. Now, we were talking about, we were looking at things that said that town wealth was going up 7 per turn. That's this right here. So we got an income of 2670. So this is going to grow every single turn based on, these different factors. So you can see that we have a 13 total growth. So they added everything up for us, and we're going to grow by 13. It doesn't sound like much, but there's going to be things we can do to make this number bigger. And then, of course, we are taxing our people, and by taxing them, we're actually slowing down our growth. And I'll show how that works in a second. This is our population. For example, if I make the region exempt from tax, so you can see how everybody's happier, right? So their decision to reform or rebel against you drops, so these numbers changed. But you'll notice that the growth didn't go up. That's because this number doesn't really update until I hit end turn, and then the next turn it'll change and recalculate for me. But you can clearly see there's a tax here that would have made this go down. That's considered a negative. So by exempting from tax, that makes it go away, but you don't get to see what the new number is. So some of that's a little wonky. And of course, that's where an updated version of this game would be very helpful. This is their religion. So a portion of the people are Catholic. You want everybody to be the same religion as your state, which is Protestant. So the fact that this is changing towards Protestant is good. And then lastly, the growth. Now this is the thing that contributes to Liverpool becoming a town, and the reason this is taking 27 turns instead of 2. If I make them exempt in taxes, the growth is going to change, and now you see Liverpool is going to become a town in 7 turns. So if I could somehow not collect taxes from this area, I can accelerate this by 20 turns. That's insane. But you do need your money, so you got to think about your taxes. Okay, this is like if you play Civ 6 or anything else, these are your updates. Everything else you need to know is here in this panel. This is for ending your turn. This is just a list of stuff that you have. It's more for information. Your building browser, we were using that already. You can go to different provinces. but we're not going to worry about that anymore. This is your research. So every school can research one thing. You have 3 tabs of research that you can do. So ideally, you want 3 schools. I would tell you ideally you want 4 schools. You want one school to be researching this tab, one school to research this tab, which I know there's a lot here, but you just need one, and then one school to research your land military, and then the 4th school to research your naval. So this is a so ideally you want 4 schools. Now, one of the key things about this game is your school contributes to unhappiness. I don't know, it's the whole concept of, since you have educated people, they're smart enough to know that you're a tyrant and a dictator, so they don't want to, so they clamor for reform. So the more schools you have in a region, the more angry your people get. So I can't just tear down 4 buildings and put 4 schools all in England. I can, actually. I mean, there's nothing in the game to stop you, but I'm going to have a lot of unrest and issues with that. And we'll talk about that some more later, but that's the research. This is our diplomatic relations, which is pretty weak in the game. Basically, the AI won't agree to anything unless it's ridiculously in their favor. But the one thing the AI will do is agree to trade agreements with you. And sometimes even then they still won't do it unless it's ridiculously in their favor. But trade agreements are the one thing you really want to do. And then, of course, making peace, which does happen sometimes. These are our objectives. This is our prestige score, showing how well we're doing. And then the government tab in the middle here. Basically, there's a summary of your government, so you can see your little ledger. You can see who you're at war with, who you're allied with. The policies. You can manage tax levels here, and you can tax the nobility separate from the middle class. And there's different effects that you get. So, for example, I can make the nobility, I can super tax them and make $3,300. But here you can see I'm going to have some angry people. And I can even just make everybody angry, right? So I can make 6604 instead of 4336 by taxing everybody. But it does create disorder. I do have my ruler, which we'll get to in a bit. You can have the game auto-manage your taxes or your construction. You would only do that if you're, I don't know, bored. And, I mean, to me, that's where the fun is managing this yourself. Here's your ministers. So this is my monarch I was telling you about, which is this dude. You can pick a minister and fire them, but you can't fire your monarch. That's the one thing. So the number of stars means that they're super good. So this guy is giving us huge benefits. You can see there for our army. This guy is giving us massive benefits to our treasury. The guy managing North America is just barely doing his job. He's competent. Let's just put it that way. And then our head of state is competent. So I want to fire the head of state. I don't like 3 stars. I want something more like this. So we got a new guy that's only 3 stars. So it's total RNG, by the way. They have these guys at the bottom, but I have no way to influence getting them, to go up there. And unless somebody knows how, then I've been playing this game for 900 hours and never figured it out. So what we want to do is we want to make sure everybody in our cabinet has more than 3 stars. So you can only fire 1 minister per turn. So I'd have to hit end turn and then next turn try again. So I'm going to try to get the head of state up and the America guy up. It is possible to get less than 3 stars, so be careful. And then this tab is also important. The world market has prices here. And currently we have goods coming from America, 3 sugar and 2 furs. So those are goods that we're producing. And then these are our trade routes. We have trade routes with Portugal, Sweden, 13 colonies, and United Provinces. And you can see that the goods that we're producing are being used to trade. And then these are just generic goods because we're not producing enough commodities. If we were making enough commodities, these other goods would go away because this is probably the lowest income of all. So these are always, anything in the world market is way more valuable than what you see in here. So basically, we have a shortage of goods. We have more trade routes than we have goods. So we want to get more goods incoming so our trade routes can fill up with stuff that's not boxes or cargo. But even with the cargo and boxes, we're getting a solid 2,000 just from trade. All right, so last thing to explain, you can see there's a really nice world map, and they got this world globe button. So we are currently in Europe. So I'm going to click on the Americas over here, and now you can see we have a map of America, and we are now scrolling the American front. Go back, there's Europe, right? And then there's one more for England or India, I mean. So they have one as well. Now they also have this. This is the East Indies, and it's only trade notes. That's all this purpose is it's just for trade. And you can see there's also Madagascar. And then there's the Ivory Coast. And then last but not least, the coast of Brazil. Okay? So, thing to understand, Brazil is sugar. These both are ivory. And then this one is spices. Okay, so England starts the game with some territory here in the Caribbean. And then way up here in Canada. And of course, we're allied with the 13 colonies, which are here. So, what do you want to do at the beginning of the game? Well, the world's your oyster. You can do whatever you want, of course. But here are some things I'm going to warn you about. If you're playing as England, France will very likely declare war on you by turn 10. Maybe even sooner. So, you're going to be going to war with France. Just bank on it. I don't think there's anything you can do. Maybe you could start like going into diplomacy and sending them money gifts if you want to try to get them on your side. I don't do anything wonky like that. I let the game just play itself. But that would be interesting to try. Maybe you could get France to come your way. I don't know. But all bribes aside, France is for sure going to declare war on you. So what does that mean for us? Well, clearly France is going to be contesting the English Channel because they're going to have their own navy. This port here is our main primary port for exporting goods to other nations. If France were to blockade this port, then all money we get from trade would drop to zero. These ports over here are receiving the goods. So you can see here that Great Britain, we have a 754 and Portugal 1144. So if they were to block this port right here, they would block $1,800 of our trade. So basically the trade is coming in and out through that port, and you also got trade coming in and out through this port. And there you can see 1,900 for Great Britain, 13 for United Provinces, 900 for 13 colonies, and 700 for Sweden. Now you might be wondering, why are they listing Great Britain at 1939? Well, remember, trade is out and back. So if somebody were to block this, what it's going to do is it's going to block the money from going to these other nations, and it's also going to block us from getting our money. So basically, your takeaway here, if you're going to just remember one thing, is don't let France block your ports. So you need your own navy to prevent that. Now, when I click on my navy, there is a little zone around here where the navy is actually. You can see like this little green circle that goes around him. If we were at war, that's his zone of control, and if I moved any navy within that region, he's going to intercept, and we're going to have a battle. And you can see here, here in the English Channel, he's got nobody's going to go by him. If you're at war. If you're at peace, people go by you all the time. So he'll have like control over this area around him that'll prevent it. Okay, so step 1, you need to prepare for France. Step 2, these trade nodes are all empty. You want to grab them. If you have a ship on this trade node, nobody else can put a ship there unless they're at war with you, and then even then they have to sink you or go to battle with you. Your trade ships are not very powerful, so they will sink pretty easily. But you want to suck up and grab all the trade nodes you can. Okay, that's probably even a higher priority. That's a higher priority than prepare for war with France. But it is something you need to do. Over here, defeat the pirates. That's problem 3. There are pirates that are here and again here. You want to defeat both sets of pirates. Otherwise, they're going to harass you and make your life miserable. And also, if you take their territory, you get some nice extra trade and basically income eventually. So you'll actually expand your territory, and the rest of the world will be glad. The only people that are upset that you're killing pirates is the Ottomans, because the Ottomans are allied with the pirates. And how do I know that? You can see it here. They're allies. Well, they're not allies, but they're protecting the Barbary states and the Crimean Khanate. So so I guess they're not protecting the pirates that are in the Caribbean. They're protecting the pirates that are in the Barbary states are pirates, but they're pirates that are down here in the Mediterranean. So my apologies there. It looks like the pirates here don't do anything. And I think the pirates actually... the Barbary States has their own... Like, you click on them, you can see they're at war with everybody, except for the Ottomans. I don't know if the pirates are on here or not. Let's find out. Yeah, they're not. The pirates are truly pirates. They're at war with everybody. So everybody's okay with you taking them down. Anyways, that's number 3. Number 4 for England is the 13 colonies are your protectorate. They're your ally. They're your trade partner. They're valuable to you. But they are 100% guaranteed going to go to war with the Iroquois. And when they do, they're going to call upon you as part of the alliance to join them. So you're going to go to war with the Iroquois. And it's annoying because in the beginning of the game, you're trying to do those other 4 things I just listed. And now you got to also balance this. And then here's another thing that's annoying. So for example, the Iroquois might come over and take Albany, New York here. So that territory is temporarily theirs. And I say temporarily because at some point, somebody's going to rebel or throw them out or whatever. And if it's not the 13 colonies that takes it back, it turns into the United States. So all of a sudden, the United States will spawn while the 13 colonies still exist. It's a really annoying feature because the United States, when they spawn, they're not friendly with you at all. In fact, they eventually declare war on you. And then they'll even declare war on the 13 colonies. So the United States is not friendly. And so if these 13 colonies, which are fickle, start falling, then you have, basically you're babysitting. So, you want to take out this Cayuga territory as soon as possible to prevent them from using that territory to go in and take these areas. Eventually, you want to take out Niagara, and, to completely eliminate them, historical style. You want to go into Michigan as well, but if you got to take this one as your top priority. So how do you do that? Well, you do have Rupert's Land up here, and there is this amazing army called the Hessian Line Infantry, and you can see down here at the bottom, it says the amount of these items you can own is limited. You're allowed to have 5 of them, and you want to produce all 5 as soon as you can. And they are, as far as musket infantry goes in this beginning game, they're fabulous. And of course, it gives you a nice land army that you can march in to help take that territory without too much trouble. Okay, So that's a lot. Those are a lot of goals. Uh, Goal number 1, if I were to prioritize them, is grab those trade nodes. Goal number 2, protect the 13 colonies. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that in a second. Which, by the way, protecting the 13 colonies also prepares you for war with France. Because France, as you can see, is here. And then there's also New France, which is over here. They control Upper and Lower Louisiana. So you're going to be at war with all of this. And so having a strong army presence here to fight the Iroquois is also going to help you accomplish a secondary goal. Number 3 is the pirates, which thankfully you could do in parallel with everything else. The other nice thing about getting rid of these pirates is right about the time you get rid of the pirates, France declares war on you, so you're going to be here with some nice armies, so you can take the Windward Islands and French Guiana. Take those right away, and France won't be able to do a thing to stop you. And then, the declare war on France thing, or them declaring war on you, because France is so locally close to everything else, you don't have to worry. Now, there is one gamble I do, and it can backfire on me hard. At the beginning of the game, in order to protect my trade nodes, I take my starting army and my starting navy, and I move them all to the new worlds. I say worlds plural because, there's different regions that you could go to. I basically leave England defenseless at the start of the game. If you're playing a multiplayer game against a human, that would be the dumbest thing ever to do. But clearly against the AI, you can try to pull it off. And most of the time, it does work. The key word there was most of the time. All right, so first thing we want to do is we want to start getting trade nodes going. So I'm going to click on a trade port. I'm going to go to naval recruitment, and right over here you see this little money icon. This is a trade ship. These two are not trade ships. They're sloops and brigs. They're war ships, if you will. So this is a trade ship. It's not very powerful. It's the Indiaman. It's got 12 guns, and basically it's my only option for trading. So I'm going to click to build a trade ship. It's going to take 2 turns to complete. I am going to go to every port I have and build one of these. So 2, 3, and 4. Now there is one more port here. That's this one. And you'll notice I can't build a trade ship here because this port is a dockyard. It's a military port. The other ones were trade ports. So if I have enough money, I do want to get started on building a 4th-rate ship of the line, which you can see has 58 cannons, way more than those India ones, but I got to make sure I have enough money first. So we're going to wait on that. Then I'm going to go to the New World, and I'm going to keep going. We're going to build a trade ship, another trade ship. So Bahamas is going to build, and Port Royal, Jamaica. And those are the only 2 I have down here. But now we're going to go all the way up to the top. And Rupert's Land is going to build a trade ship as well. So if you were counting at home, that is 7 trade ships I just built. That's the maximum I can build. I basically, went to every trade port I possibly could, and I'm building as much as I can. I can't build on my protectorate, so no recruitment in the 13 colonies. Okay, that is all I can do to grab those trade nodes. The good news is everybody in this game is starting off the same way. The only thing I can tell you is here, we can't see it because there's a fog of war, but the Netherlands has 1 trade ship here. Actually, they have a navy of ships, actually. But they're going to take one of these. They usually take this one over here in the bottom right. And so that one's going to be taken by them, which leaves us with 4 left up for grab. Now, if you're playing as the Netherlands, you get the same start. And the trick you want to do is you split up your navy into individual ships and then put 1 on each one. And then as the Netherlands, that's a little trick you can do to hog up all of them. So even if you don't have a trade ship, you could still hog up the post so nobody else can take it. So that's, if you're playing Netherlands, remember that trick. Here, you can see, now, what you don't see here is there's pirates that are going up and down, And so if I were to send a defensive trade ship here, they will get sunk. Same deal here. There's pirates. It's very likely someone's going to take this one. It's usually, believe it or not, Sweden can grab it. I don't know. It's usually different each time, but somebody usually grabs this one. And then over here, Portugal has, I think, this one right here. And this is Brazil, and you can get sugar here. Alright, so like I said, we got our 6 trade ships. 7 trade ships built. It's all I can do to focus on trade now. The rest of this is we're going to focus on preparing for war and defending our colonies. Okay? So next thing we do is I have a series of ships here. I also have some here with a very good naval admiral. This one not quite as good. I have this guy. He's an agent, and he's Isaac Newton. So here you can see he has +4 to research, which is excellent, and +1 to industrial tech. So we're going to move him into the school. And then, as you can see, right there it is. It shows that we have 1 researcher. So the research time for these improved. And since he's good at industrial, we'll put him on farm. So he's going to take him 3 turns to get this researched. Now, the school will do research whether or not an agent's there. But having the agent there improves the ability. So if I look at the school, I don't think it says exactly how many research points it generates. But, here we go. Points per turn, 9. And so what the gentleman is doing is he's adding 4 more. So now we're getting 13. And so that's what he does. One of my favorite things to do in this game is you want to get growth going. You don't want a stagnant nation. So when I have enough money, we're going to build as many farms as we can, because every farm contributes to growth. It also reduces the chance of food shortages, which is like an RNG thing. And they add to region wealth, so you do get more money as well. You definitely want to get those built. It's nothing but positives. And it's only $300, gold or whatever the term is. So it's a really good investment. But I got to stay focused on our goals first. Then this is just how we improve our nation. And over here you can see it's already been built. So we got a few spots where we're going to be able to get it going. Alright, so the problem I have here is I have 1 army here that's only got 4 troops. And then I got another army here that has 5 troops. And then I have 3 more here that are just sitting there and nobody there. So how do I want to do this? The armies are pretty much junk. So this admiral is not that good. This is a militia, a pikeman, and a yeoman cavalry. All 3 of these are very low-end units. They can definitely fight. I mean, I'm not saying they're whipsy wimps, but they're not as good as what you're going to get later in the game, and they're not even as good as what you can get now. So, like, for example, if I come over here to recruit, this is your classic horseman that you want. That's your professional heavy cavalry. And then this here is your line infantry, which is going to be way better than your militia. The militia has, you can see there, their morale is 4. You can look at the numbers right here. So their range is 70, because they fire guns, right? They have an accuracy of 25, which is horrible. It means every time they shoot, only a quarter chance of hitting. Their melee attack is 4, defense is 9, which, that means if, they're involved in bayonet stuff. And their morale is 4, which means they run away. Brave Sir Robin all the time. You come over here, the morale is doubled. It's 8. Look at that. 9 melee defense, 15 melee defense. 4 melee attack, 6 melee attack. 70 range, 70 range. 25 accuracy, 40 accuracy. So these line infantry are almost double the accuracy. So, like I said, junk. They're junk. Now, the 33rd Foot Line Infantry, um, hmm, they are more or less the same. But this one, you can only build one. They're very unique to England, and that's the other cool thing about this game is like Prussia has their own unique troops, so does England. So this 33rd Foot Line Infantry, for whatever reason, is unique to England. I guess they have a historical value. If somebody knows, please let me know. I'm always curious. But basically, they're called out, even though they basically do the same thing as regular line infantry. All right, and then you also start the game with crappy cannons. These are fixed cannons. They're very heavy, and you can see the accuracy is 45 and 40. Not very good at hitting things, but they were the best you had at the time. Eventually, with the technology, you can research, I think, this one, which enables 12-pounder foot artillery. And you can see the foot artillery, the accuracy is a little bit better, but it's much more mobile, and it's a much better artillery to have. I could go on and on and on. There's so much to this game. That's what's great about these strategy games. But okay, so what is it that I want to do? Well, what I want to do is I want to take all my trash and send them to the New World to help defend the 13 colonies. And even though they're trash, they will do just fine over there. They're going to do great against the Iroquois units. They'll even do great against France. Because you don't need to have the best of the best in the New World. They will be very helpful. There's no need to delete these units, although that is an idea, right? You could just straight up delete them. But it's definitely they'll definitely help you there. And in order to get them to the New World, I got to send them on a ship. So I can pick one of these admirals and send that admiral to the New World. Okay, so the other thing that I want to do is this general here is insane. Look at all the stars he has. He is super good. This is John Churchill. He does die early. Like old age. Like you're not going to have him for a long time. And like I said, the New World is where you're going to have your first war. It is possible that you may want to just try to charge Paris when France declares war on you. I guess that's a thing. So we could keep him here to try to do that. But really, in all honesty, sending him to the New World with this many stars, the general, what he does is he improves everybody around him. He increases the morale of everybody, so they're not going to break and run, which is what causes you to lose many battles in this game. And he's just insanely good, and it'll help you win battles in the New World. Okay, so what do I want to do? I know I keep saying that. Well, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to... we got to figure out how to pick this guy up, and also pick these guys up, and those, right? We want to put all of them in one ship and send them off to the New World. I also want to take this is our spy, called a rake. So I'm going to go ahead and move him to the port. And he's waiting for pickup. I'm going to take... Now, I got to decide, am I sending both generals to the New World, or am I going to leave one behind so I can build a new army here? That's a great question. I don't ever have a solution for that. I think I'm going to send both to the New World. So I'm going to just go ahead and put him there. And then I'm going to pick these three and move them there as well. And then I'm going to take this Navy, and we're going to go in. And so I'm going to pick the agent, and I'm going to move him to the ship. Then I'm going to pick the army, select everybody there, and I'm going to say embark. I got to select them all again. I'm going to exchange them, and so now they're loaded onto the ship. And so here you can see there's only a Navy. And so then I'm going to take this guy, and I'm going to move him to that port. Now, key thing. you can pick up troops without them walking to a port. So that troop could have moved to the edge of the map here, and I could have taken this ship and moved to the edge of the map, and I could have picked up all the troops. The problem is it consumes all the movement points of the troops and the ship. Well, maybe not the ship, but a lot of them, the points. So by moving the ship into the port, look, this ship still has, look, all this movement. So now I can move that ship all the way over to this port and pick up this guy. So I'm going to... See, these guys are on the ship. So this is the part that gets wonky. I'm picking these guys up and I'm moving them to the ship. Like that. And so, I don't know. I guess this guy got dropped off. Alright. So now I have this navy with all these guys. Alright, hold on. Are these guys on the ship or not? It's so hard to tell. That's my biggest gripe with this game, is I get confused. But see, there's no army tab. So that means the army's on the navy. So here's the way you check. We're going to take that navy, we're going to move it just a tiny bit out of the port. And now, as soon as I moved them out of the port, look, the army is on that boat. The agent is on the boat. And now you can see all the tabs associated with that boat as soon as I moved them out of the port. And if I click on the port, that's what's associated with that port. Yes, it's a 15-year-old game, folks. It's just a little wonky that way. So everybody's loaded. Army and Navy. I get these, Army and agents. And I'm going to move them all to the new world. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to this exit box here. And it's saying, where do you want to go? Okay, we're going to exit the box. We're going to go straight to the Americas. And so he's going to move. And then he ran out of movement points, but next turn he's already set to go there automatically as soon as I hit end turn. Now I got another set of ships which has a really nice admiral, and I can leave them here to defend the homeland. But the answer is no. I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to send him right away. So this goes straight to the Ivory Coast. This goes to Brazil. This goes to America, Mid-Atlantic, and America, Newfoundland. Now, what I could do is I could tell him to go here and still tell him to go anywhere else in the world. It just takes more turns. But if I tell him to go here to the Ivory Coast, he'll get there immediately. However, if you look at his movement points, it's going to take me one turn to get here, another turn probably to get here, and then a third turn to finally get there. So I'm spending 3 turns just to get to this box. So it's sometimes easier to spend 2 turns to get to this box and then just let the game move him to where he needs to go. So what is the right thing to do? It's hard to tell you. I'm going to... No matter what, it's going to take 2 turns to get to this box or this box. This box is going to be a lot closer to where I want to go than that one. So at minimum, you want to at least go to this box. But let's just move to there. And maybe we can get to one of these other boxes. Oh, here. Let me click on it. So if I wanted to go all the way out to there, here you could see he's going to go here next turn, and then here the turn after that. So it's going to take me 3 more turns before I get here. Whereas if I try to go here, he's going to get there next turn. So I'm going to go ahead and do this box and just let him figure out how to get there. And yes, it will take multiple turns, like 4, maybe even 5 turns before he arrives. You know, as you know, back in these days, getting to the East Indies is not necessarily an easy task. Okay, so why am I going there? Well, because there's pirates in every region, and you have to defeat the pirates. So the next step is, because trade is our top priority, I need to start building new navy, because I need to have a navy in every single region, not just the East Indies. And so that particular navy is going to the East Indies, and now I'm building another navy to go to the other region. I do have, like I said, a navy going to North America, but I also have a navy that's already here. So that's an important thing to understand. And I also have an army that's already here. So, what I want to do is I want this army to go under that boat. So I'm going to click, and you see what I just did? The Navy moved itself to the edge, and the army went on. I did not have to go to the port. It used all the movement points for the army, but only some for the Navy. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go and our Navy does not have an admiral. So I need to spend 1,500 to get an admiral. Admirals are huge in this game because if you don't have an admiral, they fight so much worse. This is not a good one. It's only got 3 stars, but it's still better than nothing. Oh crap, I just made a mistake. There's my admiral right there. I got a really good one. I totally forgot about that. Oh man, my apologies. Now I got 2 admirals. So he came up, he joined, and now we're going to go. Alright, so we're going to take this on. You can manually control these battles. They're boring, and they're really hard. I just auto-resolve naval battles. The land battles I'll control, but the naval I don't bother. So I'm going to go ahead and auto-resolve. And we lost 2 units. But we did capture one. So I'm going to click on this and choose to add the captured fleet. So the prize money was 603. But instead of selling the ship, I'm going to keep it. It is a brig. I could choose to take $600 instead of adding the brig to my thing. But since I lost ships, I'm going to add it. So I could add the crew from the brig. I can scupper. Anyways, I'm just going to add it and hit OK. Alright, so now I have a damaged Navy, and I need to go to port. So I'm going to go to this port here. And I was playing this perfectly. I spent $1,500 I shouldn't have spent. Because here's why. This is a military governor, so I can recruit some really nice units. I wanted to spend $700 to get some troops going. I also wanted to spend $600 to get this going. And if you do the math, that's $1,300 of the $1,500 I spent on that admiral, which is exactly what I needed. So I missed 2 key steps to start this game. Coming back over here, I do have $300 to get that farm going, so I will do that. So that was my mistake. Last but not least, we need to do diplomatic. We need to get some trade routes going. It is useful to spend your money first, because this game has this wonky characteristic of, hey, yeah, I will agree to a trade route, but I'm going to take 10% of whatever money you have. So if you have 6,000, gold, they want 600 of it. And sometimes you'll say yes because that's still a good deal. But if you have 60 gold, then they only want 6 of it. So it's helpful to spend your money sometimes. So anyways, major nations are the most lucrative. I do have an alliance with Austria, and so let's try to get a trade agreement with them first. So here, they just want us to give them indefinite military access, and they're actually going to pay us. So sure, I'll take it. And so now we have a trade agreement with them, and so you can see one of these filled in. Now, how many of these can you do? How many trade agreements? It depends on the number of ports you have. Every trade port we have allows us to have 2 trade routes. So we have a lot of trade ports here. So we're able to do a lot. France is definitely not going to be our friend. I was actually able to get the Ottomans to trade with me a few times, which is pretty decent. But let's keep going. Prussia is a tough one. Right now we can trade with them, but the moment they lose territory, we can not trade with them. So Maratha is a good one. Let's try them. And they said yes. And you can see we still got more to go. We also have minor nations that are willing to trade with us, like Denmark. A good one is Venice, if we can do them. Let's try. All right, so these guys are being jerks. They're saying, yeah, we'll trade with you, but you need to give us Ireland. And so what I'm going to do is give them a counteroffer and remove this nonsense and see if they'll... Yep, and then they won't agree. So this is different. Like last game I played, before I hit record, they totally agreed. Russia, of course, doesn't have a port right now. So let's try the Ottomans. Now, trading with the Ottomans is not always handy because a lot of people don't like the Ottomans. And when you're trading with them, then they don't like you. But let's try. Ooh, they agreed. The Ottomans are a good one because they make you a lot of money. You can see I still have more spots. So let's try Prussia, even though I'm not sure it's going to be lucrative. They agreed. And now all we have left is the Mughals, which we'll go ahead and try them. They agreed. And you can see we're done. There's no more trade slots available. So we filled up all of our trade slots, all of them with major nations. Obviously, we started the game with a few minors. And so one thing you might have noticed that changed is all of our trade ports are now with green arrows. So we started the game with only this trade port and this trade port having green dotted lines coming out of it. Now this one absorbed those extra trade routes. So all those trade routes we added is for, and in fact we can get, there we go, plus 3 trade routes each. So I was able to do 3 here, and 3 there for 9. Now this one doesn't count because basically this is my main homeland, and then this is over water, even though you can see there's this little line here. So for whatever reason, I can't count that one. And so this one here is necessary because if Ireland wants to trade with us, that would be a trade route between them and us. I know it's crazy, but it's just how it works. And you can see, if you follow the lines, like this goes, it's showing, it's a trade route that is shared by a lot of us. So Louisiana, New Spain, France, we're all using this trade route, and it's showing how much money everybody's making off of it. So Spain actually is making the most off of this one. And where's it going? It's going to America or South America. And then up here, or down here, you can see that we keep going. The green line means ours, right? So you can see Great Britain, we're coming down here to trade with the rest of the world, like, because remember, we're trading with the Mughal Empire and the Maratha Confederacy. We're trading with them. So this is a trade route between us and them, and so that's why it's green. And I'm trying to remember why we got stuff. Well, see, this is still going to North America, because you can see Louisiana and New Spain in there. So this is probably going to our Caribbean islands. And then this one here should be going to the Ottomans. That's the reason why we're green going into the Mediterranean. So by agreeing to trade with the Ottomans, we now have trade routes going this way. That's to the Ottomans, and then this one goes to Austria, because we're trading with them as well. And then the Prussia one is here, right? That's between us and Prussia. And this is us going to the 13 colonies, right there. And then you can see France is trading with their Quebec. So, if you're wondering, yes, you can park a ship on these trade routes, and they will start raiding that route. And France, for example, is making $504 off of this trade route. We could cause France to lose a portion of that, or sometimes all of it, depending on how much we're raiding that trade route. Okay, so these trade routes you can see, like, they got these little graphics going. There's little trade ships going back and forth. And because we established those trade agreements, we now have to protect our trade routes too. That's another thing we have to worry about. But one thing at a time. One thing at a time. Okay, so with that being done, I am out of money. We did our diplomatic relations. We've tried to fire a minister. That's all I can do. Just understand, I did not get to recruit 2 troops because I mistakenly hired that admiral, but that's okay. We'll recover. So now I hit OK, And everybody we have a trade agreement with or an alliance with, we're going to get to see what they do. And everybody that we don't, we're not going to get to see what they do. Now, we have trade routes that go like here. So we're going to see anybody that moves near our trade routes. It's almost like the fog of war goes away. So by having that trade route that goes to the Ottomans, we now have visibility all the way through the Mediterranean, and that area is no longer a fog of war for us. So remember I told you we're going to go to war right away? The freaking first turn. The Iroquois has declared war on the 13 colonies, and we're being asked to honor our alliance and defend the 13 colonies. So I'm going to say yes. And just like that, I mean, sometimes, folks, it doesn't happen that quick, but it just did. Now, these guys all move slow, so if you have your own copy of the game, you have to hit the space bar. Here, I'm going to hit the space bar. Look how slow they walk. Then I'm going to hit the space bar. See, you definitely want the space bar. There's those pirates, right? They're moving in each of those regions. Okay, so I want to show you real quick. You saw, well, it's telling me that we've built our farm, so I'm going to go ahead and close this. And now we got a mission to capture territory. If we capture Georgia, Cherokee territory, and New France, then the 13 colonies will join us. Basically, become a part of our nation. So, and here you can see the pirate. Now, why can we see them? Remember, fog of war. We're now trading with India, so we can see all the way to India. So we're seeing that the pirates are here. So what's that pirate doing? He's actually raiding all of the trade routes for all of us, not just Great Britain, but everybody you see here. And you can see that by looking at the trade. And in our case, we're okay. He's not impacting us, but you'll see like some of these will start getting shaded out, or they'll radiate a different color because they're being impacted by trade, by being raided. So in this case, we're okay. You can see we're desperately low at. We're taking these commodities and spreading them amongst our trade partners as best as we can. However, we're just trading basic goods. And then this here is basically the longer you trade with somebody, the more lucrative it's going to get. And this is growing turn by turn. So here you can see the other goods. These 3 boxes is getting us 338. This is getting us, it's actually 10 times 10, which is 100. And then this is getting us 13 times 13, in terms of revenue. So you got to sit there and do the math. And so it's coming out, it's saying that it's a value of 362, which I don't know how it came up with that math. I know. I think this is like what we got last turn. It's not what we're going to get next turn. So it's hard to figure out how it got to that 362 when this says 338 right here. But this is 100, and this is, 13 times 13. So what, 12 times 12 is 144. So, 154, 157, plus 13 more. So it's like, in the 170s there. So, anyways, I don't know how it got to that number, to be honest. This number is important. You want this to be as large as possible, but why am I not getting more than 362 when it says that this is 338? I don't understand that part. But all I know is that the more you get these goods to appear here and less of these cargo boxes, the more lucrative these numbers become. So let's just leave it at that. Okay. Ministers, we're going to go ahead and fire our guy. And oh, look at that. We got ourselves a really nice one. But he comes with character traits. So this dude, basically, he causes the people to hate us more. So he's a Harridan. Call yourself a husband? Why didn't I listen to mother? She said, you wouldn't amount to nothing. What good are you? The woman's unpleasant nature upsets so many people that her efforts to make her husband work hard go almost unremarked. So this guy's good at his job, but because he's got an awful wife, nobody likes him. I just love this game. But he's good at his job, and you can see he's generating prestige now per turn, which is victory points. And he helps us with diplomatic relations, and we get +2 to our town wealth in the home theater. So, I mean, it was really good. This guy's awesome. He just, the people just don't like him. So, how does that translate? Well, it translates here, that 1 just became a 0. And then this was probably a 6, and now it's a 5. So that's how it translates. Now, you also notice that Liverpool dropped. You might be saying, Jeff, that was 27. Now it's to 15. We only went 1 turn. What's with the voodoo math here? Well, the voodoo math's simple. We're growing. And so we built a farm that improved our growth rate. And so that all factors in. So our farm that we just built is helping with that. And I want to build more farms if I can. But yeah, one thing at a time. Last thing is, if you come here, Fog of War is showing there's pirates here. And the one thing we can't see is here, because we're not trading with any nations over here. This, by the way, goes to Mexico. So there are pirates here, I guarantee it. However, we can't see it at the moment. And then down here, same deal. Okay, next thing we want to do is go through our messages. So here you can see Poland and Austria are at war. Prussia and Austria at war. United Provinces in Spain. And this is like just a regular world event. Just flavor. Doesn't really do anything for us. Okay. We're going to get our navy to anchor, and we got to select our whole navy, and we need to repair damaged ships. It's going to cost us $279, and that'll take a turn or two. I'm behind, like I told you, on building, so we can build 2 of these in 1 turn. The next one will take 2 turns. So basically, this particular province can build 2 units at a time, and so we currently have an army of 4. We have a cannon, and we have 1 dragoon. That's it for cavalry. We do have a pikeman and a 1 line infantry. So we want our recruitment to be a little better. So right now we're going to build 2, and I'm going to add 2 more. So we're going to get 4 line infantry added to that army, and then we're going to go take on some pirates. We did sink some pirate ships here, but these guys, they populate like bunnies. So until you take these home territories out, they just keep producing more and more. They're annoying that way. Alright, so moving on. I'm going to go up here to Rupert Island, and I got a farm here I want to get going, because we need Rupert Island to grow as well. There is Fort Rupert that's going to develop in 4 turns. That's this little dude right here. So that'll give us another town to do something. We have this, which is currently doing nothing for us, and we can turn it into a trade post. I do want to build those. I just want to make sure that I spend my money on other things first. That's sort of like a luxury, nice to have thing. Let's get one of these Hessian infantry. This guy can only build 1 at a time. The other one, remember, you could build 2 at a time. I only build 1. I could queue them up, but it spends all my money, so I don't want to do that. Let's go back home. That's already going. We got the same dilemma here where, there's things we can do. Like, if I spend 2,000, I increase my region wealth. None of these are bad. They're all good options. It's just a question of which do you do first. So I think the thing I'm going to do first is we're going to get our trade going. So I'm going to come here, and we got this one, and I'm going to build some coffee. And I got only 1,200 bucks. So if I click up here, I don't have enough to do both. So I couldn't get the fur trade going, but that's okay. Rupert, as you can see, has Protestantism going up, and the reason being is I have a preacher. So we're going to keep him here just long enough to get this to go up, but I'm going to move him to the edge of the territory. So it took him a whole turn just to get to here, and I'm basically preparing him that as soon as he's done getting the Protestantism up, we're going to move him into these other territories and start converting the natives and stuff like that. Now, you can see I still have enough money to do something like upgrade this, which will increase what I can recruit. It also starts getting me bonus money. The money for a region like this is not that much, so adding 3% to that is not that big a deal. I would rather improve something over here, like that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, because that's going to give me +2 happiness to my upper and middle class, which makes up for the bad wife. Alright, so again, we go over here, 4,000. This number will not change, even if you made improvements. This is more of a reflection of, what it was. And you'll find out after you hit end turn what it's going to be next. You can see that the ivory is through the roof right now for prices. These do fluctuate. The spices tend to be the one that's worth the most. But right now ivory is king. We got our stuff going. Yeah. We spent a lot of money, but we made a lot of money. So, yeah, let's go ahead and... Now, you may have noticed our ship is going to the New World. Hasn't gotten there yet. So we're still waiting for him to arrive. So before the Iroquois even declared war, we already had one off and going. And actually, it's this guy, right? Because he's heading to the New World. So had we waited for the Iroquois to declare war, we'd spend this turn and we'd be here. We're already going to be heading to the New World in anticipation of that happening. And then this guy here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to start heading for those pirates. So I'm going to go ahead and hit a turn. And so all the guys you already had movement orders for automatically move. There you can see the French being French. He just went and picked up a bunch of guys. I don't know where he's taking them. Probably somewhere dastardly. So Sweden and Denmark are at war there. That was the Mughals. I'm sorry, the Maratha. This is the 13 colonies just marching back and forth. There's the Iroquois invading already. And you can shut this off, by the way. It's because you might be like, man, it's annoying watching everybody walk around. You can shut it off, but it's even worse to not know where they went. And yeah, you could turn it back on, I guess, if you're at war with the right people. So our farm finished right away. It's showing all of our trade ships finished, and some of our line infantry. And then also a fleet arrived. So this is our... We arrived in the New World already. So, the Iroquois basically marched past New York. Because the thing that always happens is they take New York. And then it gets liberated somehow and turns into the United States. That's that thing I was telling you, it's annoying. But the Iroquois this time marched past. So the one good thing is the AI never behaves exactly the same every time. And for that I'm grateful. But they almost always take New York because these idiots keep New York completely undefended. I don't know why, but they do. and then they end up losing their port, and then this is their only trade port. So then that's the only way you make trade money off of them. I mean, it's atrocious. But here I am. I'm here. I got my army, but as you can see, it's going to take me a while to get to them. So I'm going to try heading to here. So they sort of picked a path for me, and we had to go around Newfoundland, and we're going to get there next turn. But by dropping them off here and not at a port, I don't know if it'll let me go into an ally's port. I don't think it will. It takes all the movement of the army. So next turn, the entire turn is going to be just dropping off the troops. And then the turn after that, I'll finally be able to move the troops to do something. So what I'm trying to do is get here in time to save the 13 colonies from the Iroquois. And if it weren't for the anticipation of knowing that this was coming, like I said, you'd be a whole another turn delayed. So just always do yourself a favor and assume the war is coming, and do what I just did, and boom, you got yourself an army already arriving. So, check on this.
I'm just going to go full thread.
And you can see they're improving. They're almost at 100%. So one more turn, and this guy will be ready to go somewhere else. And then let's get started. So we're going to go through, and remember, trade is top priority. So we're going to go through every port and build trade ships again. So there's 3 here. I'm going to go back home. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so now next thing we're going to do is we're going to send these trade ships off. So I'm going to go ahead and have them go down to here. And we're going to send them to the east. So 1, 2, because remember, we sent our ship there to kill the pirates, right? So we're going to send 4 of these to there to grab all the trade nodes we can. You know what we're going to do? We're going to take this one. Let's experiment. We're going to have him go down there and see if he arrives any sooner. Like, is it better to put these 3 into this box to get there, or is it better to move him to this box, which is the closest to the destination? We'll go ahead and experiment there. I honestly don't know the answer. Okay. So we do still have 2,700 money. I will spend it, I promise you. I just gotta make sure our priorities are dealt with first. So coming back to here, see, I already paid for these 2 guys, so they're already in the queue, which is good. But didn't mean to click on that. I have merchants here. So I think Brazil is the safest place to go, since I don't have a fleet protecting me anywhere else. Brazil might be the safest, and the reason being is I think Portugal has a fleet there that's going to kill the pirates. Then we're going to go ahead and go. So all 3 of those, like this guy's going to take multiple turns just to get to his box. Okay, so all that's done. Had I been a turn earlier, this navy, see, they're ready to go. We would have been able to load up our army, but I need one more turn for this to finish, and that's okay. We'll wait, and then that'll start heading towards the pirates. So what do I do with my money? Well, I think since trade is our priority, let's get... See, this is producing no trade goods, so we're going to get this going. That'll produce 22 fur pelts. That's good. And then this one here is producing 30, and then it'll churn to 50. Now you might ask yourself, why is this one producing more if they're both the same level? There's a lot of cool stuff about this game, and it's why I said I like this more than Warhammer. But this is considered an average yield town, and that's considered an abundant yield. And you can see that in the red banner along the top where it says abundant yield, and this is average yield. And if this town were like a smith or a cotton weaver, it would be the same. I mean, there's rich yield and there's average towns that, so they make different amounts of money depending on the prosperity of the town. It's very, very cool. It's like a thriving, I don't know, breathing economy. The Warhammer one is a lot more stale than this, so I really love this mechanic, and I just wish they would make a modern, even if it was Warhammer, with this type of economy. It would just make it so nice. Anyways, there I am. I'm out of money. We gotta pray that the Iroquois don't do too much damage. The best thing they can do is just run around, and do nothing. That's even better. But I have doubts. Oh, Minister. We got this 3-star guy in America. Let's get rid of him. So we just got another 3-star. Alright. So France right now is not harming us. They're actually at war with the Netherlands. And you saw they just tried to blockade their port, which is bad for us because we're not going to be able to trade with them. But then the Netherlands kicked them out of the port. They might still have it blockaded, though. I don't know. And then they're trying to blockade the Mughals. And thankfully they're trying to defend New York. I don't know how well it's going to work. More troops moving. That's what we like to see. So what happened back there is they actually had a battle with the 13 colonies and they lost. And pirates. This is pretty normal. So the pirates are trying to sink my trade ship. You always have one chance to run away, and then if they catch you again, you're done. So we're going to run. And thankfully, he didn't have enough movement points to catch us. Alright, so we just researched improvements to our farming. And then basically it was saying so we finished this research. And that enables us to build bigger farms. And then we're going to continue our farming research. And this one, animal husbandry, is just going to be it's not going to be as radical. Like this last one is going to, basically we can build new farms that are even better. This one's just going to improve our currently existing farms. It's still a good tech. We're going to go for it. The farming tech I highly recommend you go for it first. It's more important than these other techs over here. And largely, if you look, it's also backwards. Like think of these as eras, right? So this is era 1. So you need to know these before you even get to era 2. And these two techs right here are the most important. This is also important, but in terms of priority, you want these two ASAP. Then over here, you want to get some of this era 1 stuff going on the military. This unlocks, like I said, a much better artillery. Having improved grenades, you could build grenadiers. Not the most fantastic thing in the world, but it's still worth getting. And then the carbines and the plug bayonet, though, they do vastly improve your infantry and their ability to fight, especially against cavalry. And then this makes your dragoons just a little bit better, and it lets you build professional dragoons as well. Anyways, those would be my priorities if I were to recommend priorities. The canister shot also is a type of shot you get to do. Not only does it unlock the better artillery, but the canister shot is like it's almost like a shotgun. So as troops are getting closer to you, you can switch from a cannonball to like this canister shot where it just blows away anything it's super short range. So it's like having a short shotgun out of your artillery. It's pretty good. Anyways, like I said, the farms, 0.2% 100 to region wealth. Now it's 0.3%. It's only an additional 0.1, but in 150 more wealth. But that 0.1 makes a world of difference. If we come here, you can see Fort Rupert is 2 turns away. We're not going to see the difference because this takes 2 turns to finish. But we're going to go ahead and get that farm going. Now this is saying that Isaac Newton, he's improved because we finished researching a technology. So now he's better. He got experience points. So his research for industrial technology improved by 1. Whoops. I just clicked off the edge of my screen. We did finish our ship. So it is a top priority to get another ship in the queue. I got my line infantry going. And then the fleet arrived here. Oh my gosh, we arrived all the way out here already. Alright, so I don't see any pirates. Sometimes they hide back here. And because of the fog of war thing, sometimes they're hiding. Oh, we're good. They're not back there. Alright, you could hover over the white line, and you can see that the United Provinces are here. And since the line goes this way, and it doesn't veer off, we know they're on this node right here. So this line goes up and it curls around to there. So this trade node, and that one are all free for us. Now, if I was smart and there wasn't any pirates here, I would have split these 3 ships up and taken one of each. Actually, there's 4 trade nodes free. So I would have taken my 3 ships and hogged up 3 of them in case anybody else arrived. But right now, I'm good. It's just the best I can do. Alright, so these are our people. Now, where are they? I don't know. Like William Cowper and John Smith. You know, what do they do for us? They're probably in our ministers. There's John Smith right there. And there's William Cowper. So they gain some extra traits, you know, that change the way people view us. Most of the time, it doesn't matter what their traits are, although they can get some pretty awesome traits. The stars are the most important. And you can deal with a lot of bad traits if you have a lot of stars. There we go. So our America's guy is up to 4 stars now, and it just helps us a tiny little bit, but it's worth it. And then this guy comes with, he gives +1 happiness and nobility, even better. And then this is this is just flavor, which is pretty cool. All right, I said we finished a ship, so we need to do naval recruitment. Now we could get another 4th-rate ship of the line, but we need an admiral. So I'm going to take an admiral's flagship and build that alongside it, and then we're just going to send 2 ships to each of the trade regions to guard the trade. I would love to send more, but I can't. I mean, I just don't have the ability to. And we're going to then send this set of ships to one of those ivory nodes once it's done. We do have farming improvement, so I'm going to go ahead and prioritize that. And I'm going to get all 3 of those farms going. There's a 4th one, and then there's one over here as well. So getting those farming improved is going to help all these regions in our homeland to have villages grow. We want those villages growing. That Liverpool's down to 11 now. Once these 3 finish, that'll get even better. We are down low on money, but we'll see what we can do here. Our armies are ready.
Oh, help me. This is Raven. Help me. Help me. Help me.
Ready and waiting for orders.
Alright, so now we're going to send our navy. We know they have pirate ships over here, so we're just going to go into the general area.
I don't think you understand.
We're not going to be able to land, but we're going to attack the Leeward Islands first. They got their navy ships here. I can't quite blockade them. This guy ran away, so he lost his orders. But now we're going to go ahead and get him going to Brazil. Look at this. The pirates attacked them. It's interesting. Then this guy is going to continue his path. And then we're going to come up here and let's continue getting those going because they're going to march down and join us. Because we got this dude here. We're going to make sure we drop off this turn.
Ready and waiting.
All right, so this Navy
Yes, Your Majesty.
just dropped these guys off. I don't need the Navy anymore because this is all land battles from here on out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send the Navy back and we're going to go after East Africa. So these guys are going to start help protecting our trade nodes. So as soon as we drop these guys off, taxi duty's over. Now we're going to go after the trade nodes. And so that's the thing. We want to be a well-oiled, efficient machine. And then we got our army here. They haven't taken New York yet, which is awesome. They almost always take New York. So the biggest priority is beat these guys back. And like I said, we want to take this territory right here. Because the moment we do, they sort of back off. The Iroquois do. I'm even okay if they make peace with us. Like, I don't need their territory. It's not that big a deal. But the priority is to obviously liberate anything that got taken and take Cayuga here. Alright, so we're low on money. I think that brings us to the end. We did our minister thing. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, we did. Diplomatically. Again, we can't trade with anybody. Oh, I wanted to show you. The Mughals are being blockaded. So we're getting nothing for our trade route with them. So that's the Maratha Confederacy. Has them blockaded. So we got to make a decision. Do we want to continue to trade with the Mughals, or are we going to just give up on them? And it's a tough decision, actually. So, for example, Russia is friendly with us, and the moment they get a port, which I think, ooh, they do have a port, don't they? Let's look. No. Russia needs to take Ingria to get a port, or Crimea, which, you know, nothing's changed, right? It's 2023 and they're still fussing over Crimea. The other thing they can do, eventually a port does get made in Karelia or Archangelisk, like along the top here, but until they get a port, you can't trade with them. Russia is nice to trade with, though. Alright, so we can't trade with Russia yet, so let's get back. Spain is definitely out. They don't like you. France is out. Poland is friendly, but they don't have any ports. And yeah, that's it. So then you're talking minor nations, which you would think these guys would be more willing to trade with you, but they're not. They're jerks. Venice is the one you want, if you could get any of them. Because they're very, I don't know, they don't get taken over. They're just basically consistent. The ones that are weird is like Hanover is very friendly, but they get conquered because they're just a single province nation. Denmark will trade with you, but Sweden will blockade them a lot. Yeah, that's usually all you get is those two. And maybe, like I said, Venice is the one you really want. Maybe you could give them gifts or something, right? To improve their opinion of you. So the question is do we dump the Mughals? We are early in the game. The Mughals are unfriendly towards us. So we're going to cancel. And as you can see, none of the majors opened up. Russia's the one that you're going to want eventually. But for the minors, you know, you got Denmark, which we got to worry about Sweden. I'm going to try Venice again. Let's see if we can get them. They want to do the dang land trade again. So, although Maria actually might be, look at that, 1566. I mean, Maria might actually be better value than Rupert's land. That's quite an interesting offer, actually. Hold on.
Yeah, I need one more Silas.
Where is Maria? So there's Venice. Maria's down here, right? So they're gonna give us this? Oh my gosh. That's a very poor town. Workshop. A low yield farm. A regional capital. And a high yield vines vineyard. That's actually decent. I don't know if I want land in the middle of nowhere, but that's really decent actually. Alright, let's try this again. Trade agreement. I have 492 bucks. I'm gonna offer them money. Everything I got. Let's try it. Nope. I'm gonna get rid of this and offer them money.
I'm gonna get one like right now.
They won't do it. Those jerks. Alright, so then we got maybe the Italian states. They're at war with France though. That means alright, we'll take it. Pay him 360. And then the Italian states going to get us 389. So in one turn we'll make back what we just paid. Alright. And then here you can see it grew a little bit. Like we're making coffee now. We're making extra sugar. We need a lot more trade goods, right? Because we're still not trading much to everybody.
So I now have 3 stars.
France is being France.
I'm gonna get the target. I don't have it yet.
Iroquois is just circling around and not knowing what to do. Like I said, they don't always do that, so just be grateful when it happens.
There's just a big void right next.
Those guys are being pirates. Ah, this is interesting. I did not expect this.
Boy,
According to this, we don't have the strength to defeat them.
I need it.
Wow. Ah, this is a big risk. If I auto-resolve this and I lose my navy, I lose my army that's on there. Oh my gosh. My admiral is like, I would tell you, hey, let's auto-resolve the battle because that outcome's going to be better than the auto-resolve. Auto-resolve in these older games is horrible. If you ever manually resolve the land battles, you could almost always guarantee a better outcome than the auto-resolve. But I can't promise you that it works that way with the ships. And the battles are so long and... do I really run away? My thing is like, this admiral is so good. And with him being so good, he can take out a lower like, the fact is they have an admiral. That's one of the things. I'm going to auto-resolve. Let's see how this goes.
The fleet is lost.
Oh, man.
Disaster.
We lost everything. That has never happened to me.
For your life. Rob and
I've never had them be so powerful.
Could you see my...
Alright, well, Huh. First things first.
Aye, sir.
Get him where he needs to go. Wow, the pirates are...
I didn't know.
So I lost my entire army. The only good news is that the maintenance costs can be pretty high on armies, so we're better there. One of the things I can do
I need a bow.
is this navy hasn't left yet. So like I can move him down and try to...
I'm trying to get you your.
Man, I've never had this happen to me before. Like,
Like I got
everything I'm showing you is cookie cutter. Like, it guarantees it works. And they flipped the switch on me. Which is fine. Which is totally fine. Alright, so first fleet arrived here. So we're just going to claim... So now we got some sugar going. And you can see in the trade, coast of Brazil, we just got 3 tiles of sugar. That's what I mean. Just one trade node gets you a lot of goods. And see, this is only showing one loaf of sugar, but because we're getting 3 more, this is going to update when we hit end turn and get much better. Now here you can see Austria is being raided by pirates, so that's why this one is shaded out, because we're basically trading these goods, but we're losing them. They're being lost by the pirates, which are the Barbary Coast pirates. And then we finished 2 things. I can't believe we... I mean, the auto-resolve did say the chances were not good, but like I said, I've never... with an admiral with that many stars, usually the auto-resolve still pulls it out for you. Alright, well, I'm in trouble. So, first things first, we're not going to be taking these 2. And I have no ability to produce... Like, I can produce crappy navy, but that's it. So, I'm going to produce... Obviously, we got to get our trade ships going again.
No, you're gonna need me. The other person's here.
And that's a priority.
My silos were there.
Alright. And then let's get our actual navy going. So again, we're going to go this way. And we went here last time. We're sending a ship to kill the pirates there. So we're going to go after that node now.
Reef sail. Destination ahoy.
And this time, you can see I'm going straight for this box instead of this one down here or this one way down here. I don't know. Sometimes I think just getting into the box is quicker. Like if you just get into the box, then it's quicker to move off the map.
Oh, I got a bow. I just killed it.
This one here, since the pirate's down here, we need to move that way.
Reef sail.
We're going to put 2 of them down there. And then this guy up here is going to take so many turns. We'll send him to that one. Alright, so Iroquois, they do exist. I could go after him. I mean, they get to run away too, just like I do. So, this is going to get me into rough territory. It's going to take me 100 movement points just to get... Or I could just go straight for this. Excuse me. I'm going to go straight... I'm going to go straight for their city. Because I think what's going to happen is these 2 will collapse and head towards their city. This guy's done. So we're going to send him down to start doing some preaching. I do have 4,400. Likely because I don't have those troops to pay for anymore. So let's improve our market. recruit another one of those. And you know what? I'm going to finish it out. We're going to build all 5 right there. So these guys are going to just come down and help. Eventually, once all 5 of them are built. I don't think I need to fire any more ministers. I'm above 3 stars everywhere. That's the best you can ask for.
I'm not kidding. Diego's? Like, come on, bro. I'm not getting my tier.
Yeah. Alright, let's see how it goes.
I'm trying to get you a tier 2 reward. I'm actually playing you.
Destin-
I'm against the big boy active. It's scary. Yes.
Wow. Netherlands is going after the Barbary pirates. Like, fierce. They're in beast mode.
Oh, my Lucian's just better, actually. My Lucian's actually just better. Okay.
Wow, Denmark took out pirates. Yeah, see, they're collapsing, which is what we wanted.
Acceptable. You only have 2 tier 3s, honestly.
Okay. A couple of things. I don't talk about it much, but the technology thing, having only one school, as you can tell, it's really slow. This game is driven by technology. When you start to research some of these later things, you unlock massively awesome troops. So, like, we have the basic light infantry now, but there's so many improvements and things you can get to your light infantry, and you know, you can get improvements to what they do, and then more importantly, on the artillery side, you can start unlocking, you know, rockets, and then here you get some exploding shells, and eventually mortars. So a lot of this stuff unlocks when you build certain schools, and then the school will give you access to new types of troops. So it's a little hard to see here, but like, yeah, here we go. The ordnance board right here.
Part, you get 22% attack speed.
So this ordnance board will let you build 24-pounder foot artillery, and then you get quicklime. And then if you get to the engineer school, you know, you're building howitzers, you know, and so forth, right? And you can get some pretty cool stuff going. The Army Staff College lets you build, you know, East India companies, the Black Watch, which is, you know, like the King's Guard.
You're
Actually, I think that's is that Irish or Scottish? I can't remember. But you know, there's the King's Guards there. And then you can get some African native infantry, which will join you. I mean, there's some pretty cool options that start to appear, and it goes on and on. I mean, there's more stuff here. There's the Republican Guard, you know, so you could be Admiral or Emperor Palpatine. Got Coldstream Guards. So some of these are unique to Britain, and of course, if you were playing as France, you would unlock French things. But yeah, there's the Green Jackets, which is always in the movie Patriots. The Patriot, which apparently triggers people on YouTube because it's not historically accurate. It cracks me up. And then and so forth. And then here you can see with the Naval College, it unlocks different types of upgrades, and of course that leads to better ships. The philosophy tab, what that does is if you research this, it lets you
fight that.
build better colleges, which gives you more and more research points. So one argument to be made is you could just go straight for this, so you can get the college, which then gives you more research points, which gives you better economy for each action. Like, you're doing more research each turn. I don't disagree with that idea. It's just you only do one thing at a time. You have to pick and choose. And the one thing to worry about, though, is if you upgrade to a college the amount of unrest does go up. So you gotta always be careful with that. So, and then these other things like this lets you get bigger farms for trade goods. So this will let you improve your trade goods, and that one is just straight up plus 10% tech research. So it's do not ignore the philosophy track. All right, fleets are arriving.
Aye, sir.
So I'm gonna go ahead and move that one there. There's the pirate.
Awaiting
I knew he was here somewhere, so we gotta take care of him.
the hindmost.
All right, we're gonna go ahead.
We are
We got him,
victorious.
and we got a +1 morale, so our admiral got better.
Ready for action.
All right, so this guy, not only did he get him, but we barely took any damage, and we gained some experience points. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm actually gonna have him leave, and now we're gonna go to this region. Well, actually, hold on. Has this guy left yet? No. Alright, this guy is going to go to that region. This guy is going to go to this one, because it's closer. So the time you have to wait is shorter.
On our way, Captain.
Alright. So now we got another one that arrived down here.
Heave away, boys. Heave away.
So here you can see Portugal has that spot I was telling you about. We got 2 of them here. So obviously sending the guy to the southmost box was not the good idea. We just produced all of our farms. And a new town from Rupert's Land. Now, this town is
I got it. I'm gonna get.
going to possibly get us 400 wealth.
I don't have it.
It is considered very poor. You see that? I don't think you would expect much in the tippy north of Canada. The other things you can build is, I didn't talk about this much, but the coaching inn gives you happiness to your middle and the lower classes, and it spawns spies. So basically, it's a spy factory, makes the lower classes happier. The church school will
Doesn't die.
convert the population.
Just doesn't die.
It also provides happiness to the Protestant population, and of course will spawn a bishop or whatever that goes around, and a missionary. But what I like to do with this one is I actually produce a school. We're up in the Rupert's Land Moose Factory, and we're gonna get a school going, and because having 2 schools means you can research 2 things at a time instead of 1, and that's a priority. All right, we're gonna get some fur markets going. I want to make sure I'm producing navy, so we're going to get another one of those. And here we go. I got another navy. And this navy, by the way, since we took out the spice trade, I don't necessarily need him for the spice trade anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send him to help us with the Americas, because obviously we lost our navy there. So we're going to send him there. So we're going to get another one going for the spice trade. I also have to be very careful to protect my homeland, because right now I don't have a navy here. So I need to just constantly crank out ships, and I'm doing it as fast as I can. Alright, so why am I building those farms earlier in the game? Why was that my first improvement? Remember, this used to say 28, and now we're down to 6. It just keeps improving. And if we keep going, so Rupert's Land, there's no more villages, so that one that spawned, that's it. That's all you're going to get. Jamaica doesn't have anything, neither does the Bahamas. Ireland is not growing yet. So we finished that farm, it wasn't enough. So what I need is maybe I can remove some taxes or lower it for them. But they have villages that will grow here. But as you can see, I don't have their growth up high enough yet. And they're also on the verge of being upset with me. But maybe I can build a governor's residence to, add another +1 to the repression. It'll get it'll help with the money situation. It's not going to help with the growth on the bottom. The other problem is you can see it's mostly Catholic, so that's part of the reason why they're upset with me. I could maybe do some stuff to get this growing a little bit more. And then last but not least, Scotland. This one actually surprises me. I thought we would have something growing by now. But Scotland has some towns that'll grow eventually as well. It doesn't tell us which one is going to grow first. But when it says not growing, it means that there is a village that can grow. It just doesn't say which one. And if you look close enough, they're on here. It's just you got to find them. Why can't I find the Scotland one? Oh, right there. So Dundee will likely be the next one that grows, and I think that's the only one in Scotland. For Ireland, you can see there's a port town, Belfast, and they got another one over here, Galway. So they have two that need to grow. And then England has a bunch, like we talked about. There's Manchester, there's Liverpool, there's Newcastle, and over here, Swansea. And I think that's the last one right there. So 4 growth opportunities there. And that's where the farms, they really help to accelerate that. And even these areas where you don't see growth, we might eventually get it. Because now, if I come back to here, that's immigration, that's a tax burden. Yeah, I would just have to lower taxes, which once I get my trade income up, I might be able to do. And then the moment I do that, these villages could start growing. Right there, Galway, 32 turns. If I were to shut off taxes completely. So, actually, yeah, we could see. What would this one be? Yep, Dundee. So, those are all just things to consider. Now, getting these upgraded, I've ignored them for a long time. I can't stress enough, those are good money makers. It's just that I've needed my money for other things. So how are we doing? We're sending things to the New World. I do have 2,800. I want to start getting recruitment going again. I no longer have the cannon. Like, I had the crappiest cannon here, but it was useful to help take these towns. Not having the cannon is not good. Alright, what are we doing here? We are going to continue. Alright, so we're going to win this battle. I could just hit auto-resolve, and it's done. But I guess I should show you how battles work. So we could do, for example, an assault. And you can see they got a lot of units. So we do have to be careful. I don't know if this is the best one to do an assault with, but I could get a good outcome. Sure, we'll go ahead and do it. Alright, so it's a winter battle. We're on the offensive, so the cool thing about this game is there are sometimes fences and stuff you can hide behind. You know, take cover. I'm sort of happy there isn't one here. And obviously the reason there isn't is because we're fighting Native Americans. The best they have are these little picket fences, which isn't much. So basically, they're going to have armies probably all throughout this hillside here, and we just need to take them down. So I got some pikemen, which are only good against horses. Then I'm going to make them my first army group. And then I have some militia, so I'm going to make my second army group. I'm going to make my general the third. He wouldn't let me make it a third. These are both. I'm gonna make that my third. I do have horsemen. I'm gonna make that my fourth, and make this number Yeah, it's not letting me assign a number to those. Okay, where are my artillery? I got it all the way down there. I want this guy to get out of the way. We're going to put our artillery right here. Now this game gets wonky. If our artillery is shooting and there's like a hill in front of them, the cannonballs will just go into the hill and never hit their target. Which is exactly what I just did here. See that hill? They're going to shoot and it'll hit the top of this hill and then the cannonballs will go off into the distance. So that's not good. I need to figure out another option. We'll try that. Alright, let's try it. Let's see where they are, what they're going to do. Sometimes they will try to attack you. That's not the case here. Some of them will be hidden in the woods, so you got to be careful. So my pikemen, for example, are good against horsemen. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move them out and line them up there. We're going to have them walk at normal pace. Obviously I have some basic cavalry, which I'm going to move up there. So we're going to move them up on this side here. I don't know why that's doing that. That's not what I meant to click on. So number 2, these are my primary musket troops. I'm going to put them here. Then this is my best troop. We're going to put them there. And then my artillery, I don't know if they're able to hit anything. It does show you their range. So here you can see their range only goes to there. And so what we're going to do is, remember that little hill I was telling you about? We're going to put the artillery on that hill. But see, the artillery, I need to... Yeah, they're shooting somewhere. I need to stop that. See? These artillery can't move because they're crap. So those other ones, you can load them onto horses and move them. So yeah, that makes the artillery very useless for this initial. And then my general, we're gonna just move him up. And yes, you could speed up the time here. Alright, so we got, they're basically lining up. They will charge us the moment they can. Let's see. So my one set of horses are going there. Another set here. We got our pikemen. I don't know, I'm going to move them up a little closer. These infantry, I will move. See, here you go. Those Native Americans are coming in, so we're going to tear them apart. We're just going to send our cavalry. They're all alone. And if you hover over them, you can see we're actually losing because he sucks so bad. Now I'm going to go ahead and retreat the cavalry. You can see this particular cavalry is coming in. I don't know where he's going. I'm going to halt these guys. so they can shoot. Gonna go ahead and move our cavalry back. And here you can see these guys. I'm gonna stop. Oh my gosh. See, this is the problem. If you're not paying attention, they sneak up on you. So now I'm in melee. My best units are in melee when they should be shooting. And that's... So now I'm going to take my... But it is still my best unit, and they're tearing them apart. So here you can see there's 2 Iroquois already retreating. And I'm going to send my... Now, the better horse units, what they'll do is they basically will... They do a lot more shock when they charge in. So like, for example, this one... I'm going to try to have them charge. I don't know, to probably mixed degree of success. And here you can see, I mean, they're basically routing everywhere. And it's a pretty easy battle. Even with my mistake over here. Now, you want to be careful. You don't want your general to die. So, don't put him in harm's way unless he has to be. And you have to also be careful because your own artillery and friendly fire does kill you. Yeah, see, like this are the... Yeah, we're tearing them all apart. Now, sometimes when they're running away, they'll regroup. And that's annoying. And here you can see we killed the enemy general, which is just going to mean that they're going to run away even more. And then here my cavalry is harassing them. I got cavalry over here harassing those guys. And see, this guy's chasing them down, but they don't really need to. So we'll just have them halt. And like I said, they're going to run away, run away, run away. Oh, look. There's one group that... So... Right there, there's some bowmen that have recovered, and now they're shooting bows against these guys. They killed one. So now I'm going to have my general and his guard charge down these bowmen, and they're going to tear them apart. Because these guys are good. They're not the crappy cavalry like the other ones. And yeah, they immediately... You know, this guy regrouped up here. Pretty standard. It's annoying. That's another set of bowmen. Everybody else running away. I mean, it is best to just chase them down, and they eventually never... Like, who the heck are these guys? Oh, they're shooting... Yeah, they're shooting these guys that are running away. So there's 2 guys here they're shooting at. And they will. They'll mow them down. And there you go. There's another one that's coming. So we're going to have these guys go after them. But in the meantime, I'm going to go after the bowmen. And now they're trying to pincer me a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and run away. Because the cavalry do best by running in. You shock a bunch of them and then you run away and then you regroup and do it again. And you also get huge bonuses if you're attacking them from the rear. And in this case, look, I can't get away because... There we go. I'm getting away now. And what I'm trying to do is just buying time for these guys to come up. And we're going to go ahead and... And also, I don't want my general to get killed. There we go. So, they finally hit whatever threshold to end the battle. We got a heroic victory.
We are triumphant.
We only lost 93. They lost 1,171. So, that was a heroic victory for sure. So, we trounced them. Alright, so we took over the territory. Now, the one thing that's thematic about the game is that it's a tribal drill ground. And so we're trying to use this land for ourselves, so burn that sucker to the ground. And then this is some Weaver's Lodge, burn it. Some weird farming, burn it. Even the fur trader. That one we could just upgrade to our own, so we could just leave it be. But burn everything else. And now we took a territory, and the Iroquois are going to calm down and not go after the 13 colonies quite so heavily. Alright. I'm at 1440, and we were talking about I have a lot to do, but these guys are on the verge of some kind of anarchy. So we're going to go ahead and upgrade the magistrate and get a little bit more repression going in the region, and it will help them to grow some more. So we'll get that going. And I'm over 2 hours. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. As always, stay awesome.